Hey, what's up, guys? We have Max Golden here. He is the host of the Pop Quiz podcast. So how's it going, Max? How you doing today?
It's going well. Yeah, and I'm just to not do too much stolen valor here. I'm one of three hosts, so I'm a co-host. I'll take a slight step down in the credit there.
Yeah, I should have added that. Then I also probably should have added that it is about movies and TV shows, right?
Yeah. So the premise of the podcast is every week we watch either a movie or if there's like a particular landmark piece of TV, and then we discuss it. But also, all three of us bring in a unique game every week, and the rest of us play the game, and they're all designed so the audience can play along. And so it's stuff that like it can be trivia, but we also try to be really creative. One of my favorite games I did somewhat recently is I went out and did interviews on the street and we sort of learned about the person and then I asked Pat and Mike, my co-hosts, to predict whether that person would get movie trivia questions correct.
Okay, cool. And can you tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll go from there?
Sure. I'm a writer, live in Los Angeles. All three of us on the podcast, we were all friends. We all went to film school together and also lifelong movie lovers. And so the podcast has been a fun way for us to, um, you know, get to talk about movies and also get to hang out.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I live in the IE, and I'm from Orange County, so
Oh, okay,
I'm
cool.
I'm somewhat close to LA. Wish I was closer, kind of, because like the traffic can be pretty bad. But besides that, I
Yeah, yeah.
love LA and the movies and the all that that's going on. Um,
That's great.
yeah. But the main thing that I have that I so yeah, I'm into like pretty, I guess, elite movies and stuff like that.
I
And
love
TV
them.
shows. Like I'm very picky on what I watch. So
Hmm.
hopefully I'm assuming kind of based on what I saw from what you guys do, we'll probably agree. But I had some guys a while ago like on for horror, and I was like hoping to talk about like Ari Aster and like Robert Eggers, and they were watch on their horror podcast. They were watching like I don't even know, like like those like kind of goofy horror like movies that you like
Hmm.
laugh at. So yeah, what kind of movies and TV shows are you into, and also then maybe like directors and actors, stuff like that.
I I probably like all the things you like and also all the things you hate.
that
I have
that's
a pretty
fine too, as
broad
long as
taste,
we can
yeah.
talk about, as long as we kind of like know like the same stuff, which I'm
Yes,
assuming
yeah.
you will, obviously. But yeah, I was kind of just kidding. But yeah, like when I threw out like Midsummer and like
Hmm.
Hereditary, like I don't even think they knew about it. So I was like, oh
Ah,
man, like
okay.
what are we gonna talk about, but
They
but
got a little homework to
luckily,
do.
yeah, exactly, luckily, which is totally fine if they're not into it. I didn't know what they were watching, so I didn't know what to ask. But like the podcast that you listened to with Lilia and the other lady who,
Tiffany, I think.
yeah, I'm really Tiffany Downey and then Lilia, like Deutsche Nova or whatever.
Hmm.
They were
I'm not
also
gonna
in.
try that one.
Yeah, I butchered it,
Not
but
not my strong suit.
yeah, but they definitely were into similar stuff as me. So yeah, so what are you into?
You know, I generally speaking like all genres. There's one or two I have a little bit of a harder time getting into. I'm not a big musical guy, but I particularly love horror and comedy. Hereditary is a great pick. It's actually funny. That's one that we're always threatening to do on the podcast because I think neither of my co-hosts have ever seen it. But wow, what a great one! You know what we did? We do for October. We do all horror movies, and this last October we watched The Babadook. Have you ever seen that one?
No, but I heard it was good.
Really, really cool movie. Very scary and is a just sort of constantly uncomfortable kind of way. Um, Great script. I would definitely recommend it. And if you like Hereditary, it's kind of a precursor to Hereditary in some ways. Like I don't think it was an influence on Hereditary, but it has a lot of those same themes and came out like about a year before.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and there was that more recent one that was like really indie from Canada. I'm forgetting the name of it, but it's like two kids in a house and like they're just like hearing noises. And for whatever
Mm.
reason, the Babadook
Oh,
reminded me of that one. I don't know if you saw that one.
Skinamarink?
Skinamarink, exactly.
Skinamarink, yeah.
That was supposed to be good, and when I saw it, I was kind of not super into it, just because it was probably a
Hmm.
little too indie, low budget for me, but it was still interesting what they did with it. You know what I mean? Like they
Yeah.
It probably didn't cost a whole lot, but it was still kind of creepy.
Yeah, I have all the respect in the world for Skinamarink. I think it's actually a really brave movie in many ways. But after about 5 minutes, I also said out loud, "Is this it? Is this what the movie is?"
Yeah,
And it
exactly.
is. If anyone is watching Skinamarink for the first time, and after the first few minutes, you're kind of waiting for it to start, it has already started. That's what the movie's going to be the whole time.
Yeah, exactly. And same thing with me. Like I have no problem with it. I thought that it was an interesting idea and it was well done. But yeah, it got boring pretty quick. And I didn't even watch the whole thing. I think my fiance
Yeah.
did, and I was just kind of there. So I really can't talk too much trash on it. But yeah, but like when you're doing your podcast, or just I guess since you're kind of, it sounds like you're a cinephile in general, do you
Mhm.
come at it, or maybe I don't even know if you do like reviews or anything like that, but like do you come at it from kind of like an angle of how good is this on like a, a cinematic sense or like a filmmaking sense, since you went to film school, or are you just kind of like whatever, like if it's fun it's fun, if it's not it's not?
Yeah. My fundamental way of experiencing anything, reading a script, watching a movie, is I always try to just have whatever my reaction is first and then think about it afterwards. Like I try not to think consciously about what the movie's doing or how it's made and just to like take it in. So if a movie is like in many ways technically a bad movie, but like I'm having a good time, then it's like I'm more interested to say, why am I having a good time if this is a bad movie? Afterwards, and to lean towards the idea that like, well, if I'm having a good time, it's probably a good movie. It's probably accomplishing something.
Yeah, and what horror, you said you were into horror and comedy, so what specific movies are you into? And then also, yeah, maybe directors and actors too.
Yeah, let me think about what's a good horror film that I just saw. I saw, did you see Talk to Me, that A24 kind of trendy horror maybe 2 years ago? Had
Yeah,
like a
and then I saw
tattooed
the
hand.
the new one too that they did.
Yes,
Yeah.
Bring Her Back. I just saw that.
Yeah.
Um, and it was a little bit of a mixed bag for me. What did you think of it?
The new one.
Yeah, the new one, Bring Her Back, I believe it's called.
I thought that both were like a little goofy, like over the top. I mean, they
Yeah.
were they were good and well done, but there was some stuff that was just a little bit too like, it's hard for me to like review things. I'm not good at that, but like to say why I didn't like it, especially. But it definitely wasn't terrible, but like it was just kind of
Mhm.
a little too goofy for me. It's a little bit too out there for me. What do you think?
Well, I'll say first of all, in terms of like your ability to review it, I think one of my favorite things about film is that it's a pretty unpretentious medium and that everybody can have a good opinion about movies. It's like it's just how does it hit you in talking about that? And I think that's a great thing that it's not so intellectualized that people feel uncomfortable talking about it. Yeah, I felt like that movie. There's a few moments, and I won't get into spoilers here, but where I felt a little bit like maybe it was in bad taste to draw quite so much horror out of themes of abuse. Um, and there was some gore in it that was really, really effective, but I felt like I don't know, at a certain point, is it a little too easy to just, have somebody peeling their skin back? Um, so yeah, I'm not exactly sure. The story definitely worked on me. I was very interested in it. So totally a success in that level, right? Like if you're watching it and always wanted to see what happens next, then it's obviously working.
For the new one or for both?
For the new one. Yeah,
Okay,
Talk to Me I
bring.
thought was pretty cool.
Yeah.
My only disappointment with Talk to Me is the trailers had me thinking it was going to be a little bit more innovative, and it's actually like a really, really standard kind of horror story.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think they're definitely talented, and obviously, those two Australian brothers are good at what they do. And in terms of like straight up horror, I would say that they're good. It's just not necessarily exactly what I'm looking for. Where I would probably say that Hereditary and Midsummer are more of what I'm looking for. So it's kind of just like a probably more of a personal preference thing.
Mhm.
Um, yeah. And then is there any other horrors or comedies that you're into, or kind of like even anticipating?
Sure, let me see. What's
Obviously, it can be
I
movies or TV too. It can be TV also.
yeah,
Yeah.
in terms of stuff I'm anticipating, it's in theaters now and the reviews are not good. So this might not be something I should be anticipating. But I do want to see Megan 2.0.
Okay, that's an interesting one.
Did you
Um,
see the first one?
no, but my fiance loves horror movies, and I obviously totally fine with whatever, but and I'll watch whatever, but yeah, um, this doesn't seem like one that I would be probably particularly into, but yeah, I didn't even
Yeah.
see the first one, so I can't really talk shit on it. You know what I mean?
Well, it's
But
interesting. Like the
yeah,
first one kind of like probably isn't quite the movie you would expect. Like it takes a turn throughout it. It kind of switches tones in a way that I enjoyed. And then I feel like the second one, based on the trailer, it's going really, really hard in I don't even really know how to describe it. This kind of like I don't know. It's the sense of humor that it's expressing, where it's a lot of like kind of like sassy, um, and I feel like any kind of delicacy from the first one's going to be gone. And I don't know. I'm down to check it out, but I don't think people are liking it very much.
and then who's in it or the first one? I feel like I
Oh
know
God, a doll.
somebody.
I
Oh,
don't
really?
remember.
There's nobody
Uh,
famous. It's just like mainly about the doll.
No, that well, there. I don't think there's anybody you would say is like, a quote unquote like A-list person or anything like that. Like, there's not a name that you're going to sell the movie on. But there are definitely there are talented actors in the cast. I feel bad for blanking on all the names.
Yeah, I feel like I'm getting this one maybe. I mean, I know what this one is, but I feel like I because I didn't see either of them, but I feel like I'm maybe mixing it up with. I know the girl from, and hopefully you can help me out with this. From
Mm.
like Heretic, and then also like the Yellow Jackets was in
Oh yeah, yeah,
another
yeah.
horror movie, kind of similar, where she's like a robot, right? Like a dating
Yes,
robot. Did you see that one?
yes. No, that's called Companion, I think, but I have
Yeah.
not seen it. It's on my list. It looks really cool. The trailer. It's one of those trailers where I was watching it. I don't know if you get the sensation, but I was watching the trailer and I was liking it. And as I'm getting like, 60, 70% of the way through the trailer, I'm upset that I'm watching the trailer. I wish I didn't know so much of the plot. Um, but like at the same time, it's doing the job. Like I do want to go see it.
Yeah. And yeah, that's a big thing. I was just thinking about that recently. I'm like, I feel like with a lot of movies, like the trailer could just ruin it because if the whole movie is essentially kind of what you expect from the trailer, it kind of does ruin it. Like I kind of hope that there's some sort of at least twist or something that I don't know about that I've seen through the trailer and am expecting.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of a similar thing. I watched an old 90s horror movie for the first time last night called The Night Flyer, and it's like a Stephen King thing, kind of on the cheaper side, kind of like just a big episode of The X-Files or something like that. Um, but throughout the movie, it's very deliberate about hiding the kind of monster of it and like not letting you see them. And there's even a big like "show me your face" reveal at the end. And the cover is just the face. It's like a full shot. The whole cover is just this thing's face. So there's all this anticipation to it, but you've seen it, hours before.
Yeah. One thing that just reminded me of was like the movie Signs, where I mean, this was so long ago, but like when I saw it, um, I think I was just kind of like anticipating what the alien was gonna look like, and then for whatever reason with that movie, I don't really remember exactly why, because like I said, it was so long ago. But for whatever reason, I think that I actually kind of liked the payoff. Most of the time, I wouldn't like the payoff of the aliens, but with that
Mm,
movie, I kind of remember liking the payoff of what the actual alien looked like for whatever reason. Do
yeah.
have you seen that one, Signs?
Yeah, yeah. No, I agree. And it's like, I think that was a movie where they did a good job of taking an alien design that is very much the kind of standard, quote unquote, like gray alien design, but then putting enough of their own spin on it that it still felt like a signature alien, you know?
Yeah, it's for whatever reason, it's hard for me to explain exactly why, because there was a part of me that wanted to say like, oh, like you never saw it, but like obviously we did. But then when I
Hmm.
saw it, it was like kind of exactly what you're saying, maybe. Like it's what you expected, but not at the same time. It wasn't overdone in one way or the other, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That, M. Night Shyamalan directed that, and
Yeah.
he's a real fascinating filmmaker to me, but like ups and downs. But have you seen a lot of other M. Night Shyamalan movies? What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. a fan of him. Like you said, it's a lot of ups and downs, but the main thing that he gets me with, and especially with those first like four or whatever, was the twist. Like even the twist in that movie,
Yeah.
even though it was somewhat of like maybe a subtle twist compared to like Sixth Sense or something, like
Mhm.
the whole thing with like the wife in the beginning, and then like how it kind of like came back around or whatever to in the end to kind of be like this is you know what I mean. I kind
Yeah,
of
yeah,
liked how
absolutely.
he did that. There, like that's a perfect example of if you see the trailer, you're probably you know that you're probably in store for more than he's just showing.
Mhm.
What about you? What do you think about his films and especially his newest one, Trap? Because I did see that one too, or
Yeah,
all of them, but Trap too. Yeah.
I really like him. I like him when he's making good movies, and I always find him interesting when he's making bad movies. Like, have you seen The Happening?
No, that's one that I skipped that one.
You gotta watch it. You gotta
Is it
watch it.
good?
I don't know how to answer that question. No. But I'm not somebody who likes to watch a bad movie to laugh at it because at some point I always just start wanting to take the side of the movie and being like, "Hey, it's really hard to make this work." But that is such a fascinating, entertaining, strange, bad movie. We actually did it on our podcast once, and it's one of my favorite episodes of the podcast just because that movie is so like endlessly discussion worthy to me. So yeah, I won't say any more, but if what I'm saying sounds remotely appealing to you, you got to check it out.
Yeah. Well, have you seen Lady in the Water?
I have seen Lady in the Water. What was your take on that movie?
Well, I was gonna say like my take was pretty much exactly what you just said about The Happening, where like
Yeah.
I kind of went in with good expectations, which I think that was after um the one where like they're in like the forest or whatever. What's that one?
Yes, The Village.
The Village, which I loved, and I loved
Yeah.
that. I think a lot of people didn't like that twist, but I
Hmm.
loved that twist. Um, but yeah, so we went to go see this one, and I was expecting some sort of weird thing that kind of like made sense but didn't at the same time, like kind of
Yeah,
almost like a
yeah.
David Lynch type thing, maybe. But
Hmm.
like to me, it just and a lot of David Lynch doesn't make sense at all to me either. But to me, it just didn't really make sense at all to me. Like
Yeah.
I was just completely in the dark. But what do you think about that one?
Yeah, I like a lot of that movie. I think that is kind of the beginning of some of his more puzzling decisions. Like I think that's right around when he put out like a little documentary, like a TV documentary, with the implication being that he had actual psychic powers. I don't know if you remember this.
No, he said that like in real life. He did.
Yeah, it's like I think
Oh
he
wow.
has claimed that the documentary is kind of tongue in cheek, but it's not really presented that way. I don't know what to think of all that. So it's just like it's a weird moment for him.
Oh
Um,
wow.
But if you think that movie has entertainment value for strangeness and badness, multiply it by 100 for The Happening. It's way crazier.
Wow. It kind of I don't know if you ever saw um Southland Tales, which came after like
I
Donnie
did see
Darko.
Southland Tales, yeah.
So is it kind of like
Richard
that?
Kelly.
Yeah, is it that kind of vibe?
A little bit. That's not a bad point of comparison. I feel weird saying they're like each other because they're so not like each other. But in the sense like of their strangeness, they are kind of strange in similar ways.
Yeah, I see. I actually haven't. What's funny is I haven't seen Southland Tales, but it's like one of those that like people have told me because we saw Donnie Darko, of course, and loved
Yes, yeah,
it.
yeah.
And then I think this was his next movie. I could be wrong about that, but then so we're obviously expecting the best. And then I had friends who went to see, it, and they were like, it was just out there, like, and not only was
Yeah.
it out there, but they had like a ton of like really big name celebrities.
Yes, yeah.
And then and he did one more or two more, if you count Donnie Darko, like two or whatever, and then
Yeah.
the
There's one
gifts.
I'm yeah. The
But then
box,
he's
yeah, I'm
kind of
blanking
just
on one.
he might have another one, but then he kind of
Yeah.
just kind of like went into obscurity. Like I don't know if everybody was just done with him, like the production companies, or I don't know if you know what
Yeah.
happened to him. But
I,
Richard
I
Kelly,
know he got attached to other projects that didn't happen. He had a movie he was working on for a long time that I think was called Corpus Christi, and I think didn't get made. I don't think he ever made it. I think The Box was kind of his shot at being like, let me come in and make like a conventional, inexpensive horror thriller that like can just kind of go and see if I can get more of a mass audience appeal. And it's a super flawed movie. I don't know if you ever saw it. It definitely did not end up finding a lot of box office success.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I don't know. He was interested at one point in doing Southland Tales as a comic. I think that did happen at some point. Um, it's kind of a mean way of talking about it, but I think he's sort of the main example of like a one-hit wonder filmmaker.
Yeah, well, don't get me wrong. I think I've heard that he's like a genius, and I think that he is based on Donnie Darko, but I'm kind of like what happened? Like what went wrong? Like I'm assuming like I think I don't really know, but
Well,
I think
are you familiar with the purported reason for why Donnie Darko is good?
no, I don't think so. Jake
Okay,
Gyllenhaal? No,
so
I'm just kidding.
no, so this involves an extremely unlikable person, but that movie was picked up from I forget which film festival by Harvey Weinstein.
Oh wow.
And I know, famously great guy everybody loves. But uh he had a major influence in recutting the movie. And later they released the director's cut. And if you watch the director's cut, it's half as good of a movie as the theatrical version.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so I think he might have some impulses as like a director that are just not good isn't a very intelligent way of putting it, but like just kind of drag movies down, and that he kind of needed someone else to come in and shape it a little bit to make it a better movie. So,
Which is
he might have kind of
interesting.
lucked out.
Which is
Yeah.
interesting because like did Harvey Weinstein actually edit it himself? Like is he like an editor or did he have somebody do it? Or like you know what I
I
mean?
don't I definitely don't think he was like sitting there in Avid cutting it, but I do think he had, a lot of scenarios where he was like a very quote unquote like creative producer
Yeah.
and would take the film away from the director and work with an editor, giving them notes directly to make significant changes to the movies that he was producing.
Wow, that's interesting. And the whole thing is it kind of goes back to what you were saying about reviewing is anybody can either like something, anybody can dislike it, and everybody has their own style. So it's almost like nothing is right or nothing is wrong. Like it may not hit
Hmm.
and it may not do well with audiences, but like I'm
Yeah.
sure that he has some sort of weird, quirky vision that he's doing. And like I said,
Yeah.
I kind of get a vibe that maybe it's in like a David Lynch type of thing. Like, are you into like
Yeah.
David Lynch at all?
I do. I love David Lynch. I'm still quite sad about him having passed away earlier this year.
Yeah.
I had a thing happen when he died where I got recommended on YouTube like interviews with him, and then I would click them, and therefore YouTube would keep giving them to me, and I was just stuck in this like depression vortex where I kept being sad David Lynch would die, so I'd watch a video with him, so I'd get recommended another video with him. But
Yeah.
yeah,
I
I
have a
was a big fan of
feeling.
his.
Yeah, I have a feeling they do that on purpose to just because they
Yeah,
know everybody's talking about the person when they die, and so they.
yeah.
Yeah, but the same thing happened to me. I think I saw videos of him. But he's like one of those guys where when I mean, to be honest with you, it's like I like him, but I also don't, or his
Mhm.
movies, um, because I just don't think that I fully grasp them the way that other people do. But like I like Mulholland Drive, and I think that if he was to do more of like a mainstream movie, which unfortunately he I think he had one more I read that he was gonna do, and it didn't happen.
Mhm.
I would probably be more into like his more mainstream ones. I mean, honestly, I haven't even watched like Inland Empire or like I've watched some of it, but Inland Empire, then the other one
You've got to watch Inland Empire. You're there.
is that yeah, exactly. What's funny about it is I do want to watch it, and I've asked
It's
my
tough. Oh,
fiance.
that's not one of my favorites.
It's a hard one, right? But I have
Yeah.
started it, and it has like a. I mean, he's like such an interesting guy, but it's like
Yeah.
his movies definitely like have this, and even like Blue Velvet or whatever, which I also haven't seen the whole thing. Like they have this kind
Okay.
of almost like old school vibe to them, and then like
Yeah.
dreamlike. And I'm like, I'm not.
Yeah.
And then also obviously the TV show. what's the name of his TV show?
Twin Peaks.
Exactly. Like I just couldn't
Yeah.
get through it because it was too weird.
Hmm.
But I feel like I'm missing something, and I also feel like he's doing a thing where he's almost like maybe like playing with the audience. I don't know. Like,
Hmm.
what is your thinking on what he's doing? Like, do you think he's intentionally kind of like trying to like mind fuck the viewer, or
Well, I'd say a couple things. If you want to see him telling a more straight story, he actually made a movie called The Straight Story.
yeah?
But have you seen Elephant Man?
No, I haven't seen that one.
That's way more of a conventional narrative. But what I think for me, my favorite David Lynch movie is Blue Velvet. And it's because it's super twisted and out there and Lynchy, but it's also a really um, sensible narrative. Like it's you don't have moments where you're kind of going, what is happening in this movie now? Like you know exactly what world you're in and what the characters want. And so you can really hold on to Blue Velvet in a way that like I would say you can't really in Inland Empire. So I think you actually might like Blue Velvet a lot. It's very dark and weird, but I would recommend it.
Yeah, I like Dark and Weird, and I started watching the beginning, like Inland Empire, and there's another one too. Um,
Lost
that was
Highway maybe or
yeah,
Wild at Heart.
Lost Highway, yeah, that one, and then Wild at Heart was Nicolas Cage, wasn't it?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. Um, it's just the type of thing where like I want to watch it, but it gets too out there for me, and I really should just sit down and watch the whole thing. But do you think that he is intentionally kind of doing a thing? Like some of it almost comes off as like I don't mean this in like a negative way, but almost kind of like it gets so weird that it's almost like laughable, kind of, or like
Yeah. Yeah.
unusual. You know what I mean? Like, do you think he's
Totally.
doing that
Yeah.
on purpose to like
Yeah.
just
Yeah, so
mess with you?
like he definitely is trying to be funny a lot of the time.
Okay.
And it can be Twin Peaks is really sort of a prime example of this. It can be a little dizzying. It's like, am I supposed to be laughing at this moment? Are you laughing at this moment? Am I laughing at this moment despite me like it being actually a serious moment? And I do think I don't think that comes from a desire to fuck with the audience. I think he was, I should say, truly a really fucking weird guy who, like his creative journey started with being a painter. And I don't think he had a lot of interest at any point in his life in sticking to conventions. And he talked in interviews a lot about that, like one of the biggest things for him is welcoming abstraction, in part because he really hates closure. He hates the idea that like something is totally done and you're done thinking about it. And so I think defying the kind of normal aspects of a narrative is what keeps it alive in some sense. Like if you watch Twin Peaks, you will keep thinking about Twin Peaks if you don't know what's happening. Like not knowing what's happening is part of what makes you later on go, yeah, what was up with that? Why was there a fish in the percolator? And so I think that's very intentional, but not in like an antagonistic way and not in like a weird for weird sake kind of way. I think that he was just really a one of a kind person.
Yeah. Do you feel like any mainstream directors are doing that same kind of thing now, or do you think that's pretty much kind of over because of money? It doesn't seem to like probably work with most audiences. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think we're in a really great period in terms of like the total movies that are coming out. Like there are really, really fascinating, cool movies that most people are never going to hear about. But the problem is there are so many, it's hard to hear about them. And I don't think there was anyone else who was making these like basically art house movies, but had a strong enough kind of signature and like almost a brand that they were still getting into like the cultural discussion. So I do think him not making movies anymore is like a big loss for like the landscape of movies.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of would assume somebody like Quentin Tarantino maybe is able just to kind of like do whatever the hell he wants, and
Yeah,
like somebody like him, but I can't really think of too many others that are like really just
yeah.
kind of getting wild with it. Even maybe somebody like I've heard this about the guy who did like 300 and like the
Zack
Batman.
Snyder. Yeah.
Exactly. Like didn't he kind of go off the walls with like the newest Batman one, and like he had like a 3 hour cut. They had to like cut it down, or like would you say that was a form of him just kind of going crazy with it, or
I think Zack Snyder, like he did a thing. I'm convinced not a single human being on Earth watched these movies, but he had like a trilogy he was going to do for Disney for Star Wars, and then it got canceled, and so I think he just like remade it as a totally original thing for Netflix. And I think they were both called Rebel Moon. It was Rebel Moon Part 1 and 2, but I don't remember their like subtitles. And then he put out like 5-hour versions of both of them or something. It was like this massive thing.
Well, wasn't Rebel Moon still? It was still Star Wars, right?
No, this was like a totally original thing.
For some reason, I felt like Rebel Moon was somehow connected. No.
I I wouldn't be surprised if he wanted that to be the case because I think, Rebel and Moon are both words we super associate with Star Wars.
Yeah. So in terms of, we've kind of covered the horror realm. In terms of comedy, like, do you feel like, I've heard a lot of people obviously complain about there's just like no comedy today. Would you say you agree with that, or do you think that there are new good comedies? What are you into as far as comedies?
In terms of like theatrically released studio comedies, they basically don't exist. Like it's not even that like there are bad ones, they just don't put them out. Like I can think of the title eludes me, but that one with Jennifer Lawrence from last year. Do you remember this movie?
Oh, like where she dated like the young kid?
Yes, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that was
I
weird,
didn't Yeah, I
right?
didn't see it. Didn't look like my kind of thing. But like that's the only like big studio comedy I can think of in like several years that's come out. I don't
For
think it's a
some
bad time
reason,
for comedy in general, but in terms of studio movies, it's just a desert.
I feel like there's got to be more than that. Like maybe I'm only thinking of TV, because I don't know if you're only talking about movies. Because
Movies, yeah, and
TV,
studio
there.
movies in particular.
Okay, so there's literally none. Like pretty much Jonah Hill and
Yeah.
Seth Rogen and all those Paul. Well, there was the Paul Rudd one with
Friendship. Yeah.
exactly. So there was
Yeah.
that,
Yeah, there's that's and yeah, that is a smaller movie,
and
but
that's an
like it did still
indie.
make it to theaters. But yeah, there's just very, very few, and I think a lot of this is because of, I mean, first of all, it's because of movies like Marvel movies that really dominate the number of screens. Like you go to a movie theater and there's half the screens are showing Marvel movies. Um, but like I think those movies also, I was just talking about this with my co-host Pat on the podcast, but the in some ways, I think the Mummy. Did you watch the Mummy, the 1999 Mummy?
I've seen one. Was that the
Brendan
Brendan
Fraser.
Fraser one? Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I did at the time or around the time. Yeah.
So that's a big one for the millennials of the world. But that kind of formed a template of action movies with a sense of humor. And I think Marvel came in and really used that same kind of vibe for their house style. And I think a lot of the times now people kind of get their comedy itch scratched by seeing, the new Ryan Reynolds action movie, seeing a Marvel movie, seeing something that's fundamentally an action movie or a superhero movie, but has a comedy element to it.
Yeah, like that's just, I hate to be a hater, but that's just such like a lame version of comedy to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, I mean,
Yeah,
don't
I
get me
agree.
wrong. Like, I think
No,
that
I agree. Yeah.
I think Ryan Reynolds is a funny guy, but, and I even think that his Marvel movie, what's it called? Or
Deadpool.
Deadpool. Is that Marvel? Yeah,
Yeah, it was
yeah.
Fox. It was Marvel Comics, but Fox, but then Disney bought Fox, so everything's Disney now.
Okay, I didn't even realize there was Fox as a comic, or,
It was like Fox, like 20th Century Fox, that like they made the X-Men movies, like the Bryan Singer X-Men movies.
but I
Um,
mean, who was
mm.
it? Like, who was the comic book company? Marvel.
Oh, that was Marvel as well. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Don't get me wrong. I watched that movie and I was, yeah, okay, this is kind of funny, but like in terms of that being a comedy, to me, it's just kind of like no, you
yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah. I totally agree, and it's like I like lots of Marvel movies. I want to go see the new Fantastic Four, but like it's a really limited like palette for comedy if that's all you're watching. It'd be like only
Yeah,
eating French fries. Like French fries are good, but like you gotta explore a little bit. You gotta watch some weird stuff.
yeah. It's just weird to me because it's like a lot of people have like blamed cancel culture or whatever, woke or whatever that is, but it just seems kind of like Seth Rogen and like those guys and even a lot of just Will Ferrell. Like in my opinion, it was never like off color or anything. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
Anchorman and all that kind of stuff. Like it was pretty um what do you call it? It wasn't like dark or anything, right? I mean, it just seems like they
Yeah.
could. I don't know why they're still not doing stuff like that. It just seems weird to me.
Yeah, it's like absurdism, right? Like we just rewatched Anchorman for the podcast actually, and like what a delightful movie. Just like silly, great one-liners, lots of really out there stuff. Like there are so many jokes in that that you're never going to get anything even in that universe in a Marvel movie because like Marvel it's quips basically. And Anchorman it's just madness and it's really fun.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, what do you think? What do you think the reason for it is that they're not making them anymore?
I do think a lot of it has to do like this is I don't know, this is a really fascinating topic, but it's a little bit esoteric. But like ultimately, film in particular, like in the United States, movies, it's been the movie business, right? Like it's an economic proposition to make a movie. You put in a certain amount of money, you get more money out. And that has like shaped the culture of movies so much because we tend to think of movies more in the context of culture and art. But like in the 90s, if you think of what 90s comedies were, generally not that good. Very like magical realism celebrity vehicles, things like Big, which is a movie I like. And that really only happened because studios decided we don't think R-rated comedies can make money. We think we make a lot more money if we make a movie that's a comedy, quote unquote, but it's really targeting the whole family, right? And so you end up with this period of time where comedy ends up really toothless. And then the 2000s, they kind of go, actually, let's try some R-rated comedies again. And you get the like Seth Rogen stuff, the Judd Apatow stuff. And so I think now you're just in a period where it's like the studios have gravitated towards really big budget tentpole movies, which typically means these sort of light action movies and superhero stuff. And like now all the studios are like owned by big telecoms. And so it's not just like, oh, what movie should we make? What's going to be a good movie? It's like, what's going to get us $1 billion in this quarter of this year? It's like a totally different thought process.
Yeah, and it's just weird to me because it's like with TV, I'm assuming it's the same way. And it's weird to me because when I look at what's on TV or in the movies, for the most part, I'm just pretty let down and I don't really even understand. Besides the comic book movies, some of the movies and TV shows, I don't even really know what demographic they'd be hitting because I just personally have never met somebody who like their favorite um show or movie is one that's out. It just doesn't. I mean,
Hmm.
obviously there must be some sort of target that they're hitting, and maybe it's. I kind of feel like it's just kind of like the you know, just I don't want to like it's kind of sounds mean to say like the NPCs or whatever as people say, where it's like just people who like, but like I don't even know like what some of
I'm such
these.
an NPC. I'm definitely an NPC. If that was a thing, I'm 100% an
So
NPC.
you are, but it's like I'm trying to think of like I would have to like look, which I suppose that I could do, but it's like I don't even like really know like I'll if I look like what's in the theater or whatever.
I was gonna
Um,
ask, what do you think? Like, what's the last movie you actually went to the theater for?
um, and to be honest with you, I actually am probably wrong about this right now because what I'm looking at are movies that are I guess people do like, but the last movie that I saw was I think it was 28 Days Later, which you I saw that you guys covered that one.
Yeah,
Um,
28 years later, that's the same one for
28
me too.
years
That's the
later.
last one I saw in theaters.
Exactly. And one movie I just want to throw out there, and I'm curious to your take on it, that I liked that just completely bombed was The Weeknd's movie. I don't know if you saw
Oh,
that.
I didn't see that. No, that's good.
I liked it, but it's like I like the director. Um, I'm forgetting his name. I don't know if you know who the director is, but like the director
No, I
is a
really
good.
don't know. No, I don't know anything about that movie other than The Weekend is in it, and I saw the poster.
He did like It Comes at Night, and
Oh, okay,
he
cool.
did Waves. If you've ever seen
I
Waves,
didn't see that one. No.
yeah. And my it was kind of like I kind of get a vibe that I don't know if you know The Weeknd did like The Idol too, which was like the Euphoria director did it.
Yes,
Yeah.
I didn't see it though.
And it also bombed because people were like, "Oh, The Idol sucks at acting or whatever." But in my opinion, I didn't necessarily, even if he does suck, it's like there's a lot of people who I think suck. But anyways, I
Mhm.
that was one of the last couple movies that I saw, and I liked that, and I just wanted to see what you thought. But yeah. So right now, obviously, I'm just eating my words. Was it Superman? These aren't movies that I'd be into, but I guess
Oh,
people would be. So Superman, Jurassic World Rebirth, F1 the movie, Megan 2.0, which you already said, 28 years later, Elio, How to Train Your Dragon, and Materialist. So I mean, I guess that's I could see people going to that, but like when I look through a lot of the times, I'm personally just like really let down. I don't even like really, especially when it's like I'm on like the Flickster app and it's like,
mm.
geez, like I don't even know, what these are. You know what I mean? When I'm going through like the
Yeah, yeah.
coming soon.
Do you feel
But
like you
yeah,
watch more TV than movies these days, or what are you drawn to?
these days I would say yes, and I almost would go to the length of saying I think that TV is or potentially could be better than movies at this point.
There's
What
great stuff on TV. Absolutely.
Yeah, and the whole thing is that I think there's a ton of bad stuff, but like when you find something like Breaking Bad, obviously that's old,
Hmm.
but
Yeah.
or even I guess even I'm trying to think of like a newer one that I could say. I'm like totally drawing up. I know there is newer ones that I'm into, but
Hmm.
I'll just
Yeah, I
throw out
think
the
it's tough.
studio or something. I thought the
Oh, is the
studio was
studio good?
it
I
was
gotta
really
watch that.
well it was really well done. Like
Uh-huh.
it's not perfect, but it was really well done. And I'm also watching Smoke, which I like.
Oh, yeah. Is that good? This is my
Yeah.
only question about things because I haven't seen like any good TV in years, it feels like. Like, is that good? I gotta watch it.
So you're okay. So you're not like really a TV guy then.
I love good TV. I think, TV historically is like more of a writer's medium than movies, which are more of a director's medium. And so you've seen such phenomenally great writing on TV now for years. Um, but like, man, finding the time for a 10-hour series or something like that, that's a lot harder than finding 90 minutes for a movie.
Well, I mean, the whole thing is like you can obviously just watch the TV show like
I know, I gotta do
as
it.
you go. Like obviously, like to watch a 10-hour whole series would be difficult, but like if you just do like okay, I'm gonna watch like 45 minutes tonight, and then next. But I get it. Yeah, it's a lot more.
And did you say you have a girlfriend or a wife?
Fiance, yeah.
Fiance. Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
But you probably have this same experience because it happens to all my friends too, where it's like you plan to watch something and you're gonna watch it on your own, like a new TV show. And if you watch it on your own, you might watch it in a week. And then if you make the fatal error of watching the first episode with your girlfriend or your wife, then now you're locked into watching it together. And then you can only watch it when your schedules line up. And then for me, it takes like months to finish something.
Exactly true. Um, and what's funny is you bring that up, and just today that happened with her, where she was like, "Are you gonna want to
Yeah.
watch the new Lena Dunham TV show?" And I don't know if you've heard of that one. Do you even
No,
know
I
who
didn't know
Lena?
she had a new one.
Yeah, it's called. Uh, um, Let me see. It doesn't really even matter, but it's like, yeah, she has a new one called Too Much, and she's not in it, but there's a girl that I think is kind of like playing her character or whatever.
Okay. Yeah.
Anyways, we literally just watched that one today, and I was like, you can watch it by yourself. But yeah, I totally get that, and luckily we're kind of at a place where we usually have like an hour or two a night at the end of the day to probably watch something if we try to. But I totally get it if you're too busy. But anyways, yeah, we're so yeah, so there's literally nothing TV wise. What about I mean, is
I've
there
seen a
really
couple
just
things.
nothing? Like, yeah.
I just started this is a couple years old, I think, but a BBC miniseries called and then There Were None, based off the Agatha Christie book that was recommended to me actually by my co-host on the podcast, Pat. Shout outs to Pat. And that, like, the first episode, this is one I got hooked into with my wife, unfortunately, but that was really fun. That was like a neat change of pace. I hadn't watched like a real kind of classic knock 'em off one by one mystery in a while. And it's like a great cast of like lots of great English actors whose names I don't know, but I can say I've seen you 100 times in different things.
Yeah. I mean, I think the main thing with me is that I think that my ADHD is just too bad to. I really have to be invested in something to watch it. So I kind of get a vibe from a lot of people, like my
Hmm.
fiance and other people, like if something's on, like they'll watch it and they'll eventually get hooked on it. But for me, it's like if I don't like it within the first like 15 minutes, I'm probably just
Hmm.
like over it and not gonna watch it. And funny enough, we've been watching like The Walking. We just like started rewatching The Walking Dead. Was my fiance used to love that, and it's like what's funny is I actually probably would say I like at least the beginning of that more than I like most new stuff. And I also think that there's like a lot of comedy in that, even though it's not necessarily meant to be comedy. It just kind of comes off as funny, obviously, because it's so just ridiculous and you know what I mean, just so crazy. I don't know if you ever saw The
Hmm.
Walking Dead, but
Well, I saw some of it, but I actually just in this last week, I'm trying to start to go back and watch all of it. I want to watch like all the spin-offs. I want to take in the entirety of the Walking Dead universe. And I've so far I've actually just been reading up on how many spin-offs there are, and I can't believe how many there are. I like the show Fear the Walking Dead. Do you know how many seasons that show had?
no.
It had 8 seasons.
Oh my God. Yeah.
That's so much. That's so much Walking Dead.
Yeah. So I mean, talk about time. Like if yeah, that's gonna take you a while to
Oh
probably go
yeah.
through all that.
Good decade
And
maybe.
yeah, me and my fiance also started watching that one, and we didn't get through it. We also didn't finish The Walking Dead, but I'm assuming you've seen Breaking Bad, right?
Yes, yeah, love Breaking
So
Bad.
yeah, I mean, like I would say Breaking Bad. I mean, a lot of people would probably kill me for saying this, but it's like I think it is probably the best thing I've ever seen, counting movies. I think it trumps the whole thing. Trumps one movie. I don't know if you would agree with
I
that
mean,
or not, but
it's a fantastic piece of drama, you know? Like I mean,
yeah.
I think if you watch something like Breaking Bad and then you were watch like The Shining or something like that, like they're so different that it's comparing them seems really unfair to both. So it's like I would hesitate to say it's like my favorite thing across multiple mediums, but I do think it's just exceedingly good. Like it's a great watch.
Yeah, well, I think that when I'm saying that, it's kind of like, would you rather watch? And obviously, there's a time constraint, but
Yeah.
would I rather watch all of Breaking Bad, or even maybe an episode or two, like of the best, like Ozymandias or whatever
Yeah,
the
yeah.
best one is, or The Shining? I would probably say Breaking Bad over The Shining. And to be honest with you, like I didn't even really like Godfather, and
Mhm.
that much. So it's like when people say that's the best, I'm like, I think it was just a little too like old for me, and I don't know. Are you into those types of movies, like The Godfather and
I
all that good
really
stuff?
I love everything. I actually just saw a different Francis Ford Coppola movie, The Conversation. Fucking incredible movie.
I
So
heard it was
good.
good. Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. It's Gene Hackman is part of why I went back and watched it, because he passed away recently. But I'll say I think the question, "What's your favorite movie?" is like an impossible question to thrust on somebody. But my like typical answer is Shaun of the Dead. I love that movie.
Okay. Yeah. I see. I haven't seen that one. That's an
Oh,
interesting.
it's so good.
It's crazy to me that as I know a ton of people love that movie, and it's crazy to me that like a spoof of a zombie
Oh,
movie
you
could
gotta
be
watch
so
it. It's
good.
so much more than that. It's so much more than that. It's
Yeah.
so a real movie. Have you seen Hot Fuzz?
No, I haven't. No, I haven't. Edgar Wright, right?
Oh,
Isn't he the
yeah.
director? Yeah.
Dude, you've got an amazing evening scheduled right there. Just blow straight through Shaun of the Dead into Hot Fuzz.
Are those meant to go together? Like, are they? Are they
So
like?
it's like a sort of spiritual trilogy. Like the narrative doesn't pick up, but it's the same kind of idea of Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and then The World's End.
Okay. And then yeah, so in terms of back to comedy, what do you think? Like you said, there hasn't been too much comedy in general in movies. What do you think of the comedy scene? Like, are you into the comedy scene, like the whole Joe Rogan, like Shane Gillis type, like tires type stuff?
I don't really watch a lot of that stuff. I do think a lot of those guys are funny. I think Shane Gillis is very funny. Um, I used to watch a ton of stand-up comedy. I don't really anymore, but it still seems like because specials are so inexpensive to shoot now, and there are also so many places that buy them, it is a really great era in terms of like if there's a comedian you like, they probably have a new special out every year. So in that sense, it seems like a really good environment. I'm trying to think of the last time I actually saw a stand-up special. I'm not sure. How about you? Do you like stand-up?
I mean, to be honest with you, not really, but I'm like a big podcast guy because I drive so much. So
That makes sense. We're in one of those right now.
yeah, exactly. And I have one. So I definitely keep up on like all the podcast comedy podcasts like gossip type. I don't know if you've seen those YouTube channels where like they go over like what's going on with like Joe Rogan or
Yeah,
Andrew Schultz or whatever, Tim
I
Dillon.
have
So
just gotten into watching these videos actually.
yeah, yeah. I'm
I watch so much stuff on YouTube. It's absolutely a sickness.
yeah. I'm curious to if we've seen like if we've watched the same ones, but it's like I was showing my fiance literally like a couple hours ago, like that's what comes up on my YouTube is like these like podcast drama stuff. So I'm like, but
Uh,
I get sucked in because like they'll show like the funniest clips of like
yeah.
the podcast, and then they'll like make fun of it and stuff, and then like there's like Kill Tony. I don't know if you're into like that type of thing or if you've seen that.
I have not seen Kill Tony. I'm not a big Tony Hinchcliffe fan, but I do know that that's a very popular thing.
Yeah, the funny thing is, I'm not. Everyone thinks like I'm a fan of all these guys, but it's not so much. I'm not a fan of these guys. I'm more of like an anti-fan. Like I said, I'll watch. I'll watch it. Like I'll like hate watch it, kind
Yeah,
of.
I relate to
Um,
this. This speaks
yeah,
to me.
yeah. So if you get a chance to watch some of those channels, I definitely recommend. If you get into that, it's interesting because they'll just make fun of Kill Tony and stuff. It's super funny.
Mm.
But anyways,
It's
you
funny
kind
that
of
that's happened. That like I feel like that's such a new thing that there's like this world, this like sub world to comedy now, where it's like there's comedy, but then there's also just like all the comedians are so present online that there's also just this subgenre of I don't like this comedian. I want to know what's happening with them.
Yeah, exactly. And it's almost kind of like I hate this guy because like why is this guy so famous? You know what I mean? And so
Mm,
it's like people go on to like Reddit to like they'll have whole subreddits just essentially kind of making fun of like certain comedians.
hmm.
But you kind of mentioned being in the comedy as a whole. Like are you what did you mean by that? Like kind of like older comedy movies or
Yeah, and like, good comedy TV. And a lot of what I write is either comedy or horror because those are two of my favorites. Um, with comedy, I so often just revisit stuff. It's like I don't really watch movies again. I typically just watch things one time. But sitcoms are the big thing where it's like I have sitcoms I love that I've watched, all the way through a half dozen times. Um, one that I really like that maybe doesn't get quite as much attention as some others is called Peep Show. Have you heard of this?
I've heard of it, but I don't think I know what it is like at all.
So it's a comedy from David Mitchell and Robert Webb, a British comedy duo. And it's like a fairly conventional sitcom in a sense. It's, two guys who live in this apartment together, but it's all shot POV. And that's kind of the pitch of it, but it is the worst part of the show. And it's the hardest thing to get people to get into it because the first season, it's all fisheye lens, POV, and very like almost music video editing and direction style. But underneath that is just phenomenally good writing, like extremely funny jokes. And one of the guys that made that show is two guys. One of them went on to make Succession later.
Okay, yeah, I definitely know Succession. Yeah.
But it's different than that, but it's got the same kind of viciousness to the humor. And if you're at all interested in that kind of thing, I would definitely watch it. And if you watch the beginning and you think it kind of sucks, stick with it until like the second season, which is a British show, so it's not that long. And then it's just so good. The jokes are so funny. It's so biting. I really love it. I've seen that like, the whole thing probably 5 times.
What is that on?
I don't know anymore. Things keep moving. It used to be on Hulu. I have no idea.
Because I know sometimes it can be hard to like find, especially if it's BBC, right? Like it's hard to find stuff on.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to check.
Yeah. And that is new. Is it still ongoing, or when did that come
That is
out?
not new. That ended several years ago at this point. Great, getting a bunch of things about what cookies I want to accept. Love that.
Yeah, I'll check. Do you know which guy went to Succession too? Because I know that the
Yeah, I
main
think
guy.
it's
I,
I think the writer's Jeremy Armstrong. I think it's Jeremy Armstrong. And okay, it is on Hulu right now. It's back on Hulu.
okay, I'll take your word. I trust you on that. I'll take your word for that. I'll check it out. It sounds interesting too. It's all. Is it? It almost sounds like is it kind of just. Is it almost just kind of like what do you call it? Like flowing, like where they just kind of like are off the cuff type thing, where it's almost like
It's the jokes are much more written, but like the so what you get from the POV angle of it is you get monologues for all the characters, like the internal monologues, and they use that as a vehicle to just write really, really fantastic kind of your inner secret thoughts jokes. Um, and then you also get this whole element of it that's just very private because you have a lot of characters who are like alone looking in a mirror and stuff like that and hearing their most intimate, disgusting, unfiltered thoughts. And it's just a great like venue for joke writing.
okay, cool. And then did you by any chance see the new this? I think it was the head guy. It might be the same guy, but the head guy of Succession made that new movie with Steve Carell, Mountainhead. Did you see that
I
one?
did. I watched that like 2 days ago. Did you see it?
Yeah. What did you think of
What'd
it?
you? For me, it's like I wouldn't want to make Succession and then make something like that immediately welcomes comparison to Succession because I thought
Yeah.
Succession was really, really awesome and a little like movie like that where people are going to expect you to recapture the kind of characters that took you 5 years to build up. Like, I don't know. It seems like a losing hand. But I did like it. I think if it had been like a one act play, it would have been like an awesome one act play. But what'd you think?
Yeah, like I wasn't into it, but it's one of those things. Like I was talking to my friend about it, who actually used to do this podcast with me, and we actually talked about film too. He wasn't into it. He said that the reason why I guess it bombed was because they, for whatever reason, like they only gave them like a month or something to do all of it. Like basically
Okay.
HBO was like, here, go shoot this in the mountains. You got like whatever time frame. And so I think that the guy is obviously a genius with Succession, but he just sounds like he just didn't have enough time, and that's the big problem. Like you're saying, they probably should have given him more time to kind of think things out. I didn't think it was great, but the thing is there's always a part of me when I watch it, I'm like, I didn't really like that, but I don't know. You know what I mean? Like maybe it's not for
Hmm.
me, or you know what I mean? Like it's hard for
Yeah,
me to
yeah.
kind of like ultimately like I'm not gonna say it was terrible, but it didn't hit hard for me. But then
Didn't
Succession,
work. Yeah.
yeah, Succession didn't either in the
Hmm.
beginning, but then eventually it did. What did you think about Succession? Were you a fan of that one?
I was very excited for it because I loved his work on Peep Show. And right away, I was able to kind of pick up on the like same creative DNA, like humor wise from Peep Show in terms of like I was saying, like the viciousness of the humor and how like nasty the characters are to each other.
Yeah.
And then I also like political intrigue stuff. So it was a very easy show for me to get into. But I know exactly what you're talking about. I think that is a feeling a lot of people had where at first the style of humor is kind of off-putting because it's like have you ever seen The Thick of It?
No.
So that's Armando Iannucci who did Veep later. Did you check out any Veep?
Oh, I've seen a little bit of Veep, but no, I wasn't that into it from what I saw. But once again, I don't know. You know what I
Yeah, it's like so those
mean?
those guys like Jesse Armstrong, Armando Iannucci, and I would also kind of put Martin McDonagh who did In Bruges if you saw that film.
No,
They're all
actually, I
kind
haven't
of
seen that one.
they're in this like European style where it's like the jokes aren't really set up punchline. A lot of times the jokes are just this character is having some really extreme expression of like emotion or like self-loathing or something like that. Um, and I think that's like a rhythm you need to get into to start really enjoying it. Cause like sometimes it's just like, what a horrible thing that person said to that other person. Ha 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 ha. But I love it. I'm one of the ha ha haers. I really enjoy that stuff.
Yeah, well, that seems to be what like made Succession so good, right? Was just like the viciousness of the people in it, and I think that is the same guy who made Mountainhead, right? I think it is.
Yes, yeah, that's the same guy.
Yeah, yeah. Um, it's really hard for me to explain, and I don't really want to say that it's like a so bad it's so bad it's good type thing because I think that you can like recreate this. But like I
Mm,
was saying, when it comes to comedy, like when I'm rewatching The Walking Dead, and there's certain like really subtle things that'll like go on that I think are funny, and like I don't think they're doing it intentionally, but I still think it's even like in Breaking Bad, it's even in like great stuff and like
mm,
Quentin Tarantino, obviously, where like I'm pretty sure in Breaking Bad, like they probably meant the humor that I thought was funny, but it's like I don't know if most people would think it's funny.
uh-huh.
But like an example would be like in Walking Dead, like I don't know if you remember like the Herschel character, but like he's like this
I
old
don't
guy in the
think
second
so.
season that like lets them stay at
Uh-huh.
the farm, and like
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
just like the subtle way that he acts, and you can tell like it's really hard for me to explain what I'm trying to
Man,
say, but
you
the
are
best
gonna
way,
love The Happening. You have to go watch The Happening.
you know what I'm talking about, then it's like it's
Yeah,
almost, yeah.
there's like an awkwardness to it. There's something where like it feels like the two people like aren't really in the same movie or aren't like speaking the same language for a moment. Um,
Yeah, something's
totally.
off,
Yeah.
basically. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you get it. The only thing that I can think of where like maybe this would be in like an actual TV show would be like I don't know if you ever I haven't even watched a lot of this show, but I'm a fan of Tim Heidecker, Tim and
Mhm.
Eric's. Have you ever seen like Tim and Eric's Awesome Show?
I missed every single thing either of those guys did until recently. I've been getting into what's it? On Cinema at the Cinema,
Yeah,
this like
exactly.
epic, yeah, multi-year web series that they do.
Yeah, so
I've been watching that.
that would be a perfect example of that type of humor where it's like the two people, him and the other guy, Greg or whatever, um,
Mhm.
the way that they like interact with each other is just off and uncomfortable, like that type of
Yes, yeah.
thing. Like I love that. And Tim Heidecker, he also has a podcast. I don't know if you've watched his podcast, Office Hours, but I listened to that, and it's kind of similar, where it's just kind of like it's almost like just crazy, kind of like
Yeah, yeah.
you know what I mean.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, so we're either at an hour or going over an hour. So if you want, I can just wrap it up by asking you like a few more questions, and then
Sure, yeah,
we can
whatever
end
you
it.
want to go out on. That sounds good.
Okay, so and you can, yeah, you can take it as long as you want or not. So what are some of the, well, I feel like yeah, so what are some of the things that you're looking forward to? Anything goes.
Oh gosh, let me
I
think.
feel like we kind of already covered everything, kind of everything current, but yeah,
Yeah,
anything
I was
current or going forward that you're looking
hugely
forward to.
also, I was really, really excited for 28 Years Later. I went and saw it with
Okay.
Pat, my friend,
Yeah.
and as we were like in line to get our tickets and to get like snacks and stuff, I think three separate times I said, "I'm really excited for this movie." Like I was really excited for it. I've been waiting for it for a long time. Um, and so that was kind of the big thing. I'm like excited but a little bit uncertain about the new Superman. You know, it's like one of the movies I feel like the most is kind of hanging in the balance for whether or not that's good and people like it. But I really like James Gunn. I don't think James Gunn has ever made anything I didn't like. So I definitely want to watch it at the very least as a James Gunn movie.
Okay. So
And
mainly just those. Are there any other like future?
I don't know, in terms of what's like very close on the horizon, I guess out now, F1 is something I had basically no interest in because I don't like racing. And then just all the materials for the movie, the trailer and everything looks really good. So I'd like to see that. How about you? Is there anything that you're looking forward to?
Yeah, that's one thing that I'm always kind of like looking forward to movies, and I
Mm.
actually have like a YouTube channel where like I'll like kind of go over what's coming out type thing.
Oh,
So I'm
cool.
excited for Eddington, which I don't know if you know about that one,
I have
but
no idea what that is.
yeah, so that's Ari Aster, the guy who did Hereditary.
Oh,
Yeah, he
okay.
did Hereditary, Midsummer, and then he did Beau is Afraid. I don't know if
Bo
you
is
saw Beau
afraid.
is
Yeah.
Afraid. Did you see that one?
Hmm. Yeah.
What'd you think about that one?
I did not like Bo is Afraid.
Yeah.
There's stuff in it that I like. There are elements of the anxiety horror stuff that I think it's like exactly what that should be and like pretty effective and cool and interesting and weird. But like the whole thing, I don't know, it almost feels like a joke on the audience. Like, actually, it was
Yeah.
about this the whole time. I also, I have a good friend who he really doesn't like Ari Aster because he feels like Midsummer was just a big rip off of The Wicker Man. Um, and I haven't had that issue until that movie where it really feels to me like he's just really like imitating Charlie Kaufman, like way too much of a Charlie Kaufman kind of riff. And
Yeah.
then if you like Kafka novels, the ending kind of feels like it's stolen from a Kafka novel. So like, I was not a fan of that movie.
Yeah. Did Kaufman write The Wicker Man or?
He didn't write The Wicker Man, but it was The Wicker Man was being connected to Midsummer, and then Beau is Afraid was Charlie Kaufman and Kafka. Have you ever seen The Wicker Man, the original one?
No, I actually haven't.
Awesome movie. Awesome movie.
Did you like wasn't the remake with Nicolas Cage too? Did you like that one?
Yeah, I wouldn't say I liked it. If you want to talk about like kind of laughing at something, it's got a really funny deleted scene that's partially in there with Nicolas Cage yelling about like a CD or something. Very funny.
Yeah, that's interesting that the original was better than I don't even know when the original came out, but I
The
mean,
70s.
yeah, I mean that's pretty good for I mean obviously that probably happens a lot, but like for the 70s movie to beat the 90s or whenever it was with Nicolas Cage.
Yeah,
Um
and generally holds up well. There's some stuff with the score in the original where it's got people singing and it comes across really silly to me. But otherwise, that's an awesome movie.
yeah. Yeah, I feel like I probably get sucked into a little bit too much of the whole like, oh, he's an amazing like everybody's saying he's like the best director now, Ari Aster, and he obviously did Hereditary and Midsummer, which I liked both, and then he did Beau is Afraid, which, like you said, I think is kind of like a fuck you to the audience, but yet
Hmm.
he still has staying. I'm shocked that he did that movie on his third movie, like,
Yeah.
but it's like I mean, I guess you got it was well done. I didn't like it, but anyways, I'm really hoping that Eddington turns out to be good, but it's kind of like a western. It's basically based off of like COVID and he's
Okay.
supposedly pissing people off or going to piss people off because it's about the whole like COVID pandemic thing in this like town called Eddington. I don't know if it's like necessarily the exact same thing as COVID, but
Hmm.
anyway, so there's that one.
Is the trailer out for it?
The trailer is out, and to be honest with you,
Oh my God, big news. I gotta go
yeah,
watch this.
yeah, I was a little let down. Like I hope it's better than Beau is Afraid, you know what I mean? But
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
so excited for it. And then there's Weapons, which is a horror movie from the guy who did Barbarian.
Yes, Zach Kreger, something like
Yeah,
that. I
yeah,
saw the trailer for that in front of 28 Years Later, and it looks pretty unnerving. I definitely want to check that out.
yeah, for sure. I mean, to that, and then there's that one with Dave Franco and his wife together, the
Oh,
horror
yeah,
movie.
yeah. Alison Brie.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, they made another movie together that I didn't see that I think was called like The Rental. Um,
yeah, I saw that one. It wasn't
yeah. Is
great.
any good?
No, it wasn't that great.
Okay.
But this one, to his defense, this one and her defense, this one does look really good, and it has like 100 on Rotten Tomatoes so far. So
Oh, wow.
yeah. Um, And then I feel like there's more. There's supposedly Luca Guadagnino is doing a couple, but he's supposed to be doing one on like the whole Sam Altman. I don't know if you keep up with the AI stuff, but like the whole open AI
A little
drama
bit.
stuff.
I keep up
Yeah,
with stuff a little bit. It's not a
yeah.
topic I spend a lot of time on.
But that one's like just getting started, and there's more, but those are the main three, I think. So yeah. Lastly, I guess obviously, if there's anything you want to plug, like your podcast, we already went over it, but if you want to go over it again, and then as far as your writing or anybody is writing on the podcast, have you done anything big, or are you trying? Is that like kind of like your goal is to be a writer, or what are you doing with that?
Yes, for the writing thing, it's I'm sure you know people who like work in the industry and everything or have aspirations in that just living in Southern California. And like the thing that happens to everybody is like everything seems like it's going to happen and then doesn't, or it's like you have a project and it's either really really boring or you have to sign an NDA. And so it's like there's never anything worth talking about. At least that's my attitude towards it. And so it's like right now I don't really anticipate any of the projects to come to fruition that I'm working on. But in terms of the podcast, the Pop Quiz podcast, I'm one of the co-hosts. Like I said, we watch a movie every week, and we play games, and it's really fun. If you like playing, if you like games, if you like trivia, if you like that kind of thing, if you ever watch Doug Loves Movies or listen to Doug Loves Movies and like the game segment, that's really what the show is, just with like a lot more variety in the games.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I like I said, I listened to the beginning of it. It sounds like really good quality and everything sounds great. I'll definitely go and check that out, and anybody else should listen to it. Um, I mean, as far as like, have you worked in Hollywood at all or anything? Have you met with people or anything like that? Or
Yeah,
even
my
even kind of just seen
most
celebrities around or whatever, any interactions?
yeah, like my most inside the industry job was I was an associate manager at a small management company. And that was really cool because we worked really closely with a talent agency, and we had clients, some of which are like sort of name clients, but a lot of people who are more just like working actors who you would probably like their work but wouldn't necessarily know their name. And that was really neat because like a lot of the experience there was looking at new projects and stuff in development and figuring out what might be a good fit for somebody we represented. And so that was really cool. Excuse me. But yeah, now I'm more focused on freelance writing. Uh, I don't think, in terms of celebrity encounters, I'm trying to think of a really good one. Uh, I don't think there's a really exciting one. I met Gary Oldman on the street one time, and that was just really awesome because I'm such a fan of his. And I talked to him for a minute, and I told him I really liked him in Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. And I just remember it because he's had this big smile after I said that, and it was like the smile was like being struck by lightning because suddenly it's like I could see that smile in my head in all the movies I'd seen him smile, and like it was just this moment where like everything kind of threaded together, and it was kind of surreal from having seen him, in movies for like decades.
Wow. And it seemed like by his big smile that he like was really happy that you liked it type thing.
I don't know. Maybe he's a really good actor. Maybe he hated me.
Yeah. Yeah. So what do you think if you had to say the main thing if to is why people make it in Hollywood? Like, what do you think that is? That
I mean, realistically, it really is who you know. It's like
yeah.
the whole Nepo baby discourse. I think people would be shocked by the fact that like everybody's a Nepo baby. Everybody in the industry, if they didn't have a relative who's in it, they knew somebody who was in it, they knew somebody who had a relative in it. I think of all the people I know who like came out here, I think I know like literally two people who got an agent without knowing someone who had an agent. Like it really is just about connections. Which is not to say people don't deserve their success. There are lots of quote unquote nepo babies who are really talented and end up having staying power because they're good at what they do.
Yeah. I had one guy on the podcast who he came like he lived in Omaha. He was a lawyer in Omaha. He just kind of like up quit his job up and came here to be an actor. And then he also had a podcast where he like went over like shows like Seinfeld and Better Call Saul and like kind of like told you what the real law was for it or whatever. And I was
Mhm.
like, man, dude, that's a ballsy move to get up and just move to Hollywood and be like, I'm gonna try and make it as an actor. You know what I mean? And I guess he
Yeah,
had
yeah.
already done some small stuff, but it takes a lot of guts to do that. Um, yeah. So lastly, I'll ask if anything that you're into, as far as we've kind of obviously already gone over movies, but movies, music, podcasts, TV shows, really anything that you're into, and ideally, yeah, just some of your favorite movies. But I don't know if I still don't know we got if I got that if I know what your favorite movies are.
Let me see. Well, my favorite, I will give to Shaun of the Dead. I love it. I love that
Okay, you
movie.
did. Yeah, you did say Shaun of the Dead. Sorry. Okay,
Yeah. No,
and
no,
then
no. I will throw
anything
a
else here
random,
too.
super
Yeah,
obscure reference here because you mentioned how like Mountain Head was made in a really short amount of time under these like tight constraints,
yeah.
and it made me think of this Japanese movie called 2LDK, like the number 2 LDK, And it was part of a thing called the Duel Project, where two different directors were challenged to each make a movie in 2 weeks, and it had to be one location and two characters in those locations. And so this is one of the movies that came out of that, and it's just about these two young women who I think are both actresses, actually, kind of similar situation to what you're talking about, and about what happens in their apartment one night. And it's so awesome. It's a really, really cool movie. And I would definitely recommend checking it out if you like the idea of a really contained story with a lot of restrictions on it. And I
Okay,
think
cool.
that's available on Tubi,
And
which
that
means it's
is
free.
it's totally like Japanese. Like, is it in like
Yes.
Japanese language? Yeah,
Yeah.
subtitles. Okay.
Subtitles. But yeah, I think it's on Tubi, and Tubi is awesome and free, and everybody should use Tubi. I like it.
Yeah, I use it from time to time. Yeah. And then anything else as far as music, podcasts, TV shows, anything? Favorite TV
I don't
show?
know.
The one you
I
said.
hear that the best podcast on earth is the Pop Quiz Podcast, and that you can get it wherever you get podcasts. No, I play a lot of video games when I have time. I love video games, so I'll plug super obscure video game, the new Mario Kart. Loving that.
All right, sounds good, Max. Thanks for coming on, and yeah, if you ever want to come back on, just let me know, and I'll definitely check out your guys' podcast.
Awesome, thanks. Yeah, it was a good talk. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks again. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.